Alright, last ride of the year. Gonna make it count. Gonna do my favorite off-road stuff. Unless it rains. If it rains, then I'm just gonna go back to the road. But here's the off-road stuff and a podcast style episode. It's gonna be a podcast style episode, so I'm gonna be talking over the more or less non-cut footage from the ride. Here we go. So usually at the end of every year, I try to do a festive 500, and I've done a few festive 500s before. I think I've done 2 or 3, but I've not always completed them. Last year in particular, I did not complete one because it's just tough to find time now to put in the hours. And I knew that this year or 2024 was going to be similar. So I knew that I didn't want to put in the hours. I would have a hard time putting in the hours, I should say. And but I still wanted to do a lot of riding. And I wanted to do a lot of fun riding. And for me, fun riding is like this. Like off-road stuff. And the reality is when you're going off-road, your speeds are a lot slower. So I didn't want to have to put in, I don't know how many hours it takes to hit 500 kilometers off-road or with a lot of off-road riding. So I decided not to bother. In this vlog, I am running the Surly Midnight Special. You'll notice that in the Midnight Special, I'm still running my usual rig. Although it is 650B by 50 Donnelly MSOs, if I'm not mistaken, has the Cosevlo carbon fork, and still my kinda ratty, kinda old GRX at this point. I commented about this before. My crank is a mountain bike crank. My GRX is this old GRX. The left shifter's GRX, the right shifter's Ultegra. The RD, there's a little bit of a problem. You'll see it later. I'll show you. So I'm gonna make a few changes moving forward. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully in the next month or two. I wanted to do this podcast to kind of just give an overview of what my plans are for 2025. The short of it is I'm hoping to do a few gravel events. There's one in Nueva Ecija for Feb, but I'm not gonna do that. February is my wife's birthday month, so she was not very keen on the idea. And also, Nueva Ecija, the Nueva Ecija gravel scene looks really cool, but you know it's a plane ride and an extra car ride for me also. So I'm waiting for the ones to. Pretty bumpy today. Yeah, it was bumpy on that ride. I'm waiting for the Clark ones to get announced. So once they announce the Clark ones, I'll probably join 1 or 2. So that's for the gravel events, and of course I'm gonna do an audax as well. I plan to do the Bohol audax. Here you will see what the problem was. Have to fix my chain. So the chain basically kind of gets out of that bottom pulley, and the bike will still work, but it'll make this sound. So it kind of like pops out of the bottom pulley and then kind of just goes to the side of the pulley. And to be honest, I couldn't tell the difference at first except for the sound. But yeah, that's what happens. That's the kind of the annoying thing with my RD at the moment. Although I could probably just fix it by replacing the, what do you call that? The cage, the long cage. I could probably just replace that. But I'll show you what I'm up to in the next month or so. Alright, back to the plans. So of course I'm going to do an audax. The plan is to do the Bohol audax, most likely the 400 kilometer one. I really enjoyed the Bohol audax the first time I did it. And then I'm going to do a revenge Cebu audax, the 600 kilometer one. It's going to be tough. The 600K, I've never done it. It's going to be the longest one, but Also, it's going to be tough from just a training perspective. It's, I don't know. I think I'm gonna tell you what some of my 2025 goals will be, but basically for the riding, it's still gonna be fairly the same. I'm still gonna do about 8 hours a week of riding on average, and honestly, it's just been quite busy with the shop, the kids. Um, so the riding, I've been kind of just fitting it in wherever it's possible. You've seen some of the videos where I've done like a night ride because that's the only time I'm free. Oh, also, in this ride, you're gonna see that I'm gonna get lost quite a bit. So I hope you guys don't mind if I all of a sudden stop talking because I'm gonna show you the bits of me getting lost. Like this part here, I'm actually heading towards a dead end. Yeah, I don't think I know where I'm going at this point.
Mang buntag, nani gaw sa nan ngari? Mo gawas rin isdan? Wala, dead end rani? Ah, sorry, thank you.
So I think in the beginning I said, like, I'm gonna show you some of my favorite gravel routes. That wasn't necessarily true. I just wanted to do a couple of gravel routes and kind of just explore. Like I knew that I wanted to hit certain gravel sections, but there were bits of connecting roads that I wasn't sure of. And I kind of wanted to avoid this one because I knew it was going to be like that. Kind of wet, kind of muddy. This whole section here.
Lagi? Makalusot naman ko ngara, no? Ang ngari straight. Sige, thank you.
In the map, there was a right turn somewhere that I could have taken, but I guess I missed it, so I just decided to go through here. And this little bit has like lots of mud ruts, so I just decided to hit the grassy portion. And even in the grassy portion, you can kind of see there's still water there. But that kept my bike a little bit cleaner than it would have been. Anyway, it's a funny thing about plans, You gotta be flexible.
Well, I kind of knew this was going to be this way. There it is. It's very short.
Yeah. With plans, man, you got to be flexible. So for 2024, I had a whole bunch of things planned, and the big thing that was unplanned that happened that kind of took over my life was the bike shop. We didn't really plan on opening the shop, especially when 2024 started, and then it kind of just fell into place. Like I was able to get these partners and these suppliers and people to help me out, with the shop, and then the space kind of just showed up. So it worked out. Like I'll read to you a little bit about my 2024 goals. Okay, so my 2024 goals were. I had some fitness goals: 2 interval sessions a week, learn when to take it easy, recovery week every 4 weeks, 8 hour bike weeks, and then I wanted to find a floor exercise routine.
Buntag.
And for the most part, I was able to do that. I had some vlog goals. I wanted to find a vlog sponsor. I wanted to focus on creating good videos and at least once a week post. I also wanted to make like shorts and reels and experiment also with videos outside of cycling or cycling adjacent videos. And I was able to do that sort of. The reels not so much anymore, especially when the shop opened. But the big vlog goal was to hit 1 million views for 2024, and
Nari ni lusutanan, boss, no? Nara?
that did not happen.
Ma'am, nani lusutanan, ano? Wala. Murag mo, basta tuyok-tuyok lang. Sige. Thank you, ha.
The vlog hit 362,000 views. Yeah, so while we weren't able to hit that 1 million view count for 2024, I'm not angry about that. I did my best. And also, the vlog has been super helpful with the shop.
Lagi ko, boss, ha. Thank you. Kumustraight ako, boss. Wala lusutanan nga to. Ana, unta? Akin nga na ba? Nato ba? Wala? Wala na. Sige, thank you, ha.
In terms of my goals, there was no real goal to open a shop, but when the opportunity came to open a shop, we took it, man. Me and my wife took it, and my wife has been super helpful with it also. She had to sacrifice a lot as well. Now that I'm recording this podcast in the shop right now, and before the shop, I was able to just kind of stay home and kind of just man the fort in a way. And now with the shop, I'm not able to do all those things at home. I'm not able to take care of the kids as much as normal. Oh, pardon that black spot. Eventually, it's gonna disappear. Just not right away. And yeah, so that's why you'll see like a lot of videos of my kids kind of just hanging out in the shop because I'm basically watching them, right? But yeah, my wife has been great. She sacrificed a lot as well for me to have this shop here. So she's been super helpful. Yeah, so again, as you can see, 2024 goals, the shop was not part of it. So I was thinking I could talk a little bit about what I want to do for 2025. And the main goal for 2025 is to continue chugging along with the Villain Cycles bike shop. That is the main goal. Like, right now we're doing okay. I think when most people open a business, maybe for the first 6 months or first year, they're kind of just hemorrhaging money for the most part, and then just hoping that the traction gets to a point where people find out who they are, people know about the business, and so forth. And I think through the vlog, oh yeah, well, wait, before I get to that, this is where I sort of kind of got lost. Like I'm in between like a wall and property, and there's barbed wire right there. It's I had I was confident that there was going to be a light at the end of this tunnel. Quite literally. I mean, I'm walking here. I couldn't really bike through this thing, and it felt a little bit sketchy, to be honest. But it was also kind of fun. I tried this technique, and I believe I gave up on it because my rear fender kept touching the ground and kept scratching on it. I think I see somebody at some point here. Okay, not even. I'm going to talk about how I find routes later on in the video, but you're getting a real sense of how it is when I ride
Excuse me, boss.
by myself.
May buntag,
There, I see
mga
somebody.
tanal ako. Asa pa doong palik sa Dan? Dan. Kani? Sige. Thank you. Alright. I knew that'd pay off.
Yeah, okay, so I found my way. All right, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I think when businesses first open, the first couple of months or maybe even the first year, they're not really expected to earn money right away sometimes. I'm sure there are businesses that do, but I think generally speaking, they open and then they kind of need that traction to keep going. And
Pabalik ni Sdan, ma'am. Pabalik ni Sdan. Amot, nagtuyok-tuyok ako. Thank you, ha.
I think since I started with the vlog, even started with the Villain brand much earlier, I was able to get, awareness of the shop very early. So in fact, the first 2 months, people who would come in here, they already knew we were here because of the vlog, because of the announcement on YouTube, announcement on social media. And I didn't get like a customer for the first 2 months who was like just kind of a walk-in, who kind of just saw the shop on the road and kind of just, walked in. If I didn't have the YouTube, if I didn't have the social media, I don't know, man. I don't know what those first 2 months would have been like. So fortunately, we've been open since like July 2024, I think, and we've more or less broken even enough for me to even just continue to buy new stock for the shop. And you should have seen the shop when we first opened. There was nothing here. Like, I would park my bicycles here just so that it would give the shop a semblance of like there are bikes here, you know? And then the wall, we have this like wall of like merchandise, and before there was nothing, like I was only able to fill out like half of the wall, and in the middle of the wall like I put a t-shirt there because the shirt took up space so it didn't look empty. And now it's pretty full. So I got really lucky with suppliers, and also really lucky with friends who are selling their second, third, fourth, in some cases 30th bike. I have friends who just have extra bikes and they're just looking to get rid of it, and so most of the bikes that are in the shop right now are second-hand bikes, and we've been able to sell them at a pretty decent clip. And then I'm obviously very new to this business, but to the people I've talked to who are doing this, they've kind of considered 2024 to be some sort of a down year. And to be honest, I haven't really felt that because I don't know, because we're doing better than I expected. Maybe my expectations were kind of low, but me and my wife haven't had to put out any more money to keep this shop open.
Boss, mo na lang ko, boss. Nani siya lusutanan? Straight. Thank you, ha. Thank you.
I don't know. I think we're really lucky. I think it's really good that I had the YouTube channel and social media prior to opening the shop. I think that all helped. The main goal for 2025 will be to keep this shop going. There's a whole bunch of things like in the shop that I want to expand on, like more bike stuff, more villain clothing, more bikes itself. Like I want to do some affordable semi-custom traction builds. But before I do that, I'm going to test some of the components myself on the Surly, just to give you a hint of what's coming. And yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan for 2025. And of course, I'm going to continue doing the Villain midweek rides, the Wednesday rides. I feel like that's really important. The Villain midweek rides is a really good avenue for new cyclists to to find people to ride with, or even just to find different routes. Like, I think the shop is near some of the best gravel riding in Cebu. Like, frankly speaking, no bias, I think it is near some of the best gravel riding here in Cebu. And I'm really lucky. Like, in fact, a lot of this video was, I think I'm in the hour point of my ride in this video. So it's not that far at all. And then the other goals for 2025 will be pretty simple. Fitness goals will still be 8 hours a week of exercise. And then I'm going to try to focus more on fun and less training. Although I will still be doing high intensity intervals, probably not twice a week though. Because before I was doing twice a week high intensity intervals, and then on the weekend, kind of just doing a whatever, like a whatever ride. And sometimes fun ride goes really fast and really intense. And when I would end up doing two high intensity rides and a fun intense ride for 1 week, I feel like it would leave me really fatigued. And lately for the break, I stopped doing high intensity intervals and I've been feeling pretty good and energetic, to be honest. So I'm still thinking about it, but probably a once a week high intensity interval sounds fine. And then on the weekend, if I opt to do a fast road ride, that should be good too. So I'm gonna try to focus on more fun, less training. Like I'm gonna quickly look at my Strava stats. You can see that more or less when the shop opened, my my hours have gone down. It's tough, man. It is tough here. So June was like a lot of hours on the bike, and then as soon as July hit, you can see that the graph just went down. It's been tough to get hours, man. But I'm not complaining. Still hit my 8 hour per week goal, so it's fine. I still had a pretty good year for riding. Here's my Strava year in sport. I was able to do 231 total active days, 81,596 meters of elevation. Although lately not I've not been focusing on elevation at all.
Morning, ma'am.
I've been focusing more on routes that I enjoy. And personally, going up a mountain very slowly, I mean, it's fine, but there are more enjoyable bike rides. I like the ones where I'm going fast and going fast off road. Those are fun. My total distance surprisingly went up 7%, 7,384 kilometers. I think it's because I think in 2023, I rode a lot in the trainer. And then I was doing it on a dumb trainer and it wasn't recording distance whatsoever. So I think in terms of time riding, yeah, as you can see, total time actually went down 11% from 2023. It's 406 hours for 2024. I think technically I would have rode more distance if I had a smart trainer. And then 2024, I had a smart trainer and I started riding more outside. So that's probably why it went up. More or less, I expect these totals to be very similar this year. Hopefully, that's the goal. But going back to some of the more custom affordable bike builds that I have in mind, here's a quick prediction of 2025. I think more and more people will start looking at these Chinese components. From my experience here in the shop, it seems like because here I get a lot of customers and they come in, they bring their bikes in, and a lot of them have the usual Shimano SRAM stuff, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, they're still like the best stuff out there, but the price point might be a little bit high for some people. So the Chinese group sets, even Chinese components like wheel sets, like I said, I have the Cosevlo carbon fork. on my Surly, and it's not perfect. There's some kinks,
Shit. Ah,
but
damn it.
it seems like if you are willing to jump through some hoops a little bit, if you have a good bike mechanic, I'm really lucky to have Kenneth here at the shop because he quite simply understands what needs to be done most of the time for these components. But if you're willing to go through some hurdles for these Chinese products, then you can end up with a pretty good bike, I think.
There's the Mother Mary. We're going down. We're going down here. Finally, back to the main road.
Right now, I'm talking out of like the experience of owning the shop, of seeing people with those components on their bikes and hearing their opinions. But eventually, I'm gonna put it on my bike, and I hope to give you guys a real sense of what it's like. So that's the plan. That is the plan for 2025. Assuming we sell more bikes. Because, building a bike is not cheap. So I gotta wait for that capital to come in those sales to come in. So I have a little bit of spending money for putting it on bikes. But I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm hoping more and more people start cycling in 2025. I'm hoping, like we did the villain Christmas ride, and I have a video about it, and there was a lot of people who joined, a lot more people than I expected. We were like almost 30 people, and it seemed like everybody enjoyed that ride. They seemed like everybody had fun, and to me, that's the most important thing. Okay, in the video, I didn't think the road was going to be that interesting, so I decided to stop the footage. And I turned the footage back on when I knew I'd be hitting more off road. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I find new routes in this part of the video. You should see my little face here. People occasionally ask me how I find these different routes, and honestly, it's just the willingness to get lost, and whoop. Yeah, it got kind of tricky. Oh, and there were cows. It's just the willingness to get lost. There's no, well, the willingness to get lost and like the curiosity of looking at different maps and biking a lot and trying not to go to the same routes over and over again. I've been here before. It's been a while though. Yeah, I don't mind getting lost, as you can see in the footage. I mean, that's what I like about the gravel bike. It doesn't matter to me what the terrain is, unless it becomes like incredibly technical, like a downhill or an enduro style single track. Otherwise, it's usually not too bad. I think I'm going to show you the view here. Why am I pulling this out? I forgot. Okay. I put it back on my chest thing. What was I saying? Yeah, unless it becomes super technical, and when it does, I don't mind carrying my bike and just walking through the part that I find super technical. And it's just nice. I just love doing this. Here's the little view. I think I'm getting the putting it out so you can show you the view. This isn't a bad spot. I like it. I should come back. I should go through that route more often. Anyway, back about the bike shop. I feel like one of the biggest challenges with this shop right now is figuring out what items to stock in the shop. Now, I focus a lot. The shop focuses a lot on gravel bikes, so we have a lot of like gravel stuff, like components, like brake pads for gravel bikes, and so on. And then I learned that brake pads for mountain bikes can get quite complicated. Apparently, there's a million mountain bike brakes out there, and consequently, a million mountain bike brake pads out there as well. So we stock a few variations of brake pads, but not a lot. Just the usual road and gravel and the common mountain bike ones. So it can get complicated. So that's a challenge for me because we don't have unlimited capital. And one of the nice things about not having unlimited capital is that it forces you to think of different ways to overcome challenges. Like I mentioned earlier, when we opened the shop didn't have anything. Like there was, we did not have bike frames hanging on our walls. We did not have wheel sets or tires, uh, displayed here in the shop. And since we didn't have the capital to just go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff, we figured out ways to still have these items displayed in the store. And when we do buy stuff, it means that we are buying stuff with, with a little certainty of actually selling them or using them in the future. And I don't know, there's this big balancing act that I want to do because at the same time, I know it's really important to test the products, right? So that's what I'm going to do with some of the Surly stuff, and but also testing products that they cost money, buying stuff for the shop they cost money, um, keeping the shop open with the overhead and everything that costs money as well. So yeah, it's this big balancing act, and I feel like that right now is the challenge. That's the biggest challenge right now. You know, but so far, honestly, the response from people from the regular customers has been great. I love that sometimes people just hang out in the shop. Like they don't even need to buy anything. Like at most they might buy a coffee. And then they just find that it's a comfortable enough space to just sit down, chill, hang out and talk bicycles. And we just came from the Christmas break and I kind of miss it, man. I kind of miss just sitting around and then talking about bicycles. So I am recording this on the first work day of 2025, and I am excited to get started. Yeah. Although I've been sitting here for like an hour and still nothing has happened. But still, I'm hoping to see a few people walk in those doors eventually. It's fun owning a shop. Like the reason I want to do some semi custom builds in the shop is that like I find that sometimes the bicycles that are spec'd from especially the bigger manufacturers, they're fine, but they don't normally match. Sometimes they don't match the terrain that these bikes are going to be in. Like here in Cebu, for example, if you're here in Cebu and you do a lot of riding, you inevitably go up some really steep hills. Like it is normal to hit 18% gradients when going up these hills, and that's just normal Cebu riding. And I remember my first bike, it had a Claris on it, and Claris is fine. Claris is a great group set, but the gearing that I had on it, I believe, was a 50-34 in the front, and I think it had like a 30 in the back, an 1130, if I'm not mistaken, or 1132 or something like that. I'm not sure. I think it was 1130, and it was hard, man. It was a gravel bike, and it was hard to ride up these hills. And I think with these custom builds, I feel like I'll be able to put components there that match the terrain, that match the Filipino physique. Like one of the things that's a trend right now is the shorter cranks, and it's actually pretty easy to get these shorter cranks online, and they're pretty good. They seem pretty good. So shorter cranks for shorter people, and the Filipinos tend to be shorter, So, and even things like the handlebar width, like Filipinos tend to be smaller also than Westerners, so you can get like handlebar width that is also smaller. So things like that, hopefully, we'll be able to work on bikes like that in the future. I think that's me kind of like looking into the future, visualizing what I want to be able to do with the shop, and also importantly how that benefits customers of the shop as well. And that's what I want to do. Um, yeah, those are the types of builds that I think are valuable for people. And then who knows? Eventually, if my customer base starts wanting more expensive, more higher end bikes, then we'll figure that out too. Like one of the things I've been trying to, that's not clear to me anyways. Like let's say I wanted a nice high end gravel bike frame. It's unclear to me where to go right now for something like that. Now, granted, I haven't really tried too hard to look for a light, high end gravel bike frame. Kind of needed to be light here in in Cebu, unfortunately, because of all the climbing. Um, there's a reason why there are not that many Surleys here in Cebu. I'm one of the few people who own one. Because they're kind of heavy, but I love the bike, so I'm gonna continue riding mine. But yeah, generally you want it to be kind of light. That's also really why I like the traction grit, because that frame is surprisingly light. But if I wanted like a higher end uh, gravel bike, maybe a carbon frame, for example, it's unclear to me where to look. Again, I haven't tried very hard because just my customer base has not been, looking for those bikes as of the moment. We'll see in the future. One of the things that I hope happens also with these community rides, with these open rides, is that, yeah, honestly, I hope that people have fun doing it. Like that's the goal. The main goal is that people have fun, and that it kind of just opens their world. But at the same time, my other goal is that hopefully the people who do it, when they have fun, that they enjoy it so much that they try to encourage their friends to
Thank you.
get into cycling as well. And I don't know about you, man, but cycling has given me so much that I I just want to share that with other people, with as many people as possible. This is like, cycling has made me the most fit I've ever been, right? So, if cycling makes you fit, that's kind of a no-brainer. The other thing is, though, to me, like if I get to bike in the morning, that is like a little meditation that I get to do to start my day. And it makes the rest of the day so much better. You know how they say that you should meditate, clear your mind, do all of these things. And honestly, all I do is go on a bike ride. I don't use music. I don't put headphones on. I just focus on riding, and it feels like meditation, man. It feels like I am focused on that one thing, simply riding, simply in the moment, enjoying myself, not thinking about anything else except riding my bike. And that is very valuable. I feel like that is really important. It's really important to me, and I think so many other people can benefit from that as well. Yeah. So I'm hoping for 2025 to bring in more people into cycling. I said before that the main goal of this shop is to get more people to bike, and I hope we are going to be able to do that. I hope that's going to happen. I hope that more people are going to discover the joy of cycling. And along the way, I hope they stop by the bike shop and, whatever. Buy a piece of merchandise, maybe have their bike fixed, maybe even buy a bike from the shop. Whatever. It's going to be good. 2025 is going to be a good year. Cheers.
I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I hope you guys had a good 2024. And more rides for 2025. I still gotta finish this ride though. Happy New Year. See you soon. Bye.